Someone to volunteer and give us what the core values of PSI are. Any volunteers? In Kenya, we would have lots of T-shirts that I could give away, but I didn't bring any with me, so. Peter, you don't count. No one.
Well, loathing bureaucracy, no.
That was the old one, Julie.
Oh, that was an old one? Oh.
Yeah.
Should we just shout out ones we know?
Shout out the ones you know.
Long-term commitment to the people we serve.
Measurable results.
Measurable results.
Okay, Peter,
Speed
you can
and
play.
Okay, no, come on, we're on a roll.
Don't look at the back.
Speed and efficiency.
Speed and efficiency.
Measurable results.
Measurable results. I think we said that.
Active partnerships.
Active partnerships.
Innovation.
Innovation. They right, Peter?
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Now, you get bonus points if you can tell us the difference between the core values and the pillars.
And the pillars.
See, that's
That really
where-
separates the,
Yeah,
The wheat from the chaff.
about
yes.
really, really good looking.
Say the girls from the ladies.
We did this exercise with the senior team, and then looked at other staff in PSI Kenya, and it was the same sort of thing of people kind of struggling of remembering what were the core values. And this was after we did our strategic plan, and then we disseminated it and disseminated the mission and vision and that sort of thing. So we wanted to see where people were in really understanding it. Could they give sort of an elevator speech around it? And so we had sort of similar results. People remembered some, but not all of them. So a committee was formed. We like to mirror Washington a lot. A committee was formed. It was called the Corporate Culture Committee. And it had representatives from each of the departments. And they came up with, this was one of the things they came up with. They continue to address other cultural issues within the corporation. But this was sort of their big project that they came up with. And what they did was they took the core values and sort of shortened it so it was easier to remember the phrase. But then we were still struggling with that. It was a lot of things to remember. And it was actually when Grace Roach came to visit, and she had a lunch with senior team members. And they were talking about it, some ideas of how to get people to remember it. And I was thinking throughout the lunch that, geez, Grace isn't even paying attention to what they're saying. She's over there writing down stuff. And in about 10 minutes, she came up with Eeriic. So she took our statements and rearranged them and said, well, why not call it Eeriic? It's easy to remember. Then you can remember each of the statements, boil them down to words, and you can remember them.
Some of us back here think it should be called Eeriic.
Well, okay. So Eeriic is, we took the statements and we boiled them down to efficiency, empowerment, results-oriented, integrity, innovation, and collaboration. So it's much easier to remember, and now when you ask what the core values are, that people will say Eeriic, but they can also say what each of the elements are. So we've used this in many different ways, but it was really to enhance the understanding and make a fun way to get people to remember the core values. And then they did a contest around the mission and vision. And they're working on another one to do the elevator speech. So when someone asks you, who do you work for, and you say PSI Kenya, that you know what to say that we do, that's boiled down. So they're doing a contest around that. But then they realized, okay, everyone understood Eeriic and can, tell you what each of the letters stand for. But, how do you inculcate it? How do you live the brand? So then what they did was they had contests we have a newsletter we do every 2 months, and they would get prizes for stories that they submitted of how they live the core values. So examples of what they do in their job to do innovation or empowerment or any of the core values. So we had a actually much higher participation at the beginning. It's hard to continue the momentum on that, but they still do submit the stories. And it's really just to kind of build the unity of the organization. Like Washington, we like to mirror Washington. We have the same problem that the field feels left out and forgotten, and Washington, or in this case Nairobi, gets to do everything. And so it brought up ways for there to be connectedness between the field and headquarters, and to also break the silos between departments. There's a lot of silo things, people not talking to each other, not realizing that the support teams truly function to support and contribute to the dallies, and so it created ways to break down some of those issues. The committee developed a creative brief because they wanted to have a mascot or something that would be fun around Eeriic. So they did a creative brief, and actually after negotiations got it done free. It was going to cost us some money, but we were able to negotiate. And Eeriic the ant was the outcome of it. He's a little Disney-like, but he was the one that was voted on, and people liked him because he was fun and colorful. And then the tagline they came up with was, "Our values, our identity."
Who needs pants?
And